Luvenia, I love you so much. I love you just because you make me so happy. I really thank you for being in my life. And you just are so beautiful. And I really cherish and adore you because you are the one. I love you so much.
For you are the only man I'll ever be. I'll listen to you. I'll nurture you. I'll fight, but I will be true. I will always do my equal share, and I will vow to never give up on you. I'll try my best to fulfill your every need. I'll walk hand in hand with you, but I will always give you your separate space to grow. I'll tend to you when you're sick. I'll build you up when you love. I stand before our family and friends, and I'm gonna say this from my heart. From this day forward, I'm here. I'm right here. So you don't let go. You're my strength, my joy, my everything. And when you feel like the world is crumbling, look at me, because I'm your rock. I would love you, and I just want to thank you for choosing me. Because you chose me. I love you. Perfect, that's upstairs. Yeah, you too, okay. Keep holding hands. When we look at the rings, we can see that they're formed into perfect round circles with no beginning, but more importantly, no end. As God intended it, when we place your wedding bands together in this fashion, they form the sign of infinity. May these blessed rings always be that reminder to each of you. Someone else carries your heart. They love you just as much as you love them. I'm going to hand you your bride's beautiful rings here. As you recall, the band will go first as it will go closest to her heart in the engagement. So you're taking time. It's so cute. You always treasure your rings, like you treasure this moment, and like you treasure your marriage. Now before you, we have 3 candles. The 2 outer candles that are lit, they represent the 2 of you and your personal journeys before your wedding day. The center candle represents our Heavenly Father and your invitation to Him to come into your hearts, to come into your home, and to come and bless your marriage.
Just weeks earlier, Luvenia Gardner had been glowing with happiness, walking down the aisle toward the man she believed was her forever. Their wedding photos told a story of love. Smiles, laughter, and promises whispered under soft lights. But behind those perfect moments, small cracks had already begun to form, the kind that only love-blind hearts choose to ignore. No one knew that the same man who kissed her forehead that day would soon become her greatest fear. On April 16, 2021, those vows of "till death do us part" took on a horrifying meaning. As flames consumed her body, Luvenia ran through the streets fighting for a life she had just begun to build. She didn't make it. The fire was too much. This is the heartbreaking story of Luvenia Gardner, a woman whose dream wedding became her darkest ending. This story takes us to Chicago, Illinois, a city known for its shimmering skyline, deep history, and endless rhythm of life. Yet beneath the beauty and bustle lies a city of contradictions. Vibrant but volatile, full of opportunity, but shadowed by struggle. It was in this complex landscape that the heartbreaking story of Luvenia Viv Gardner quietly began to unfold. To her loved ones, she wasn't a statistic or a headline. She was warmth in human form. Born and raised in the South Deering neighborhood, Luvenia was known for her kindness, laughter, and the way her smile could brighten even the dullest day. Friends remembered her as someone who lifted spirits just by walking into a room, leaving behind a glow that lingered long after she left. Her joyful personality radiated on social media, especially on Facebook, where she shared glimpses of her life, playful selfies, lighthearted jokes, and moments with friends that captured her fun-loving spirit. Living in Cook County, one of the country's most diverse regions, Luvenia found comfort in her community, even as she navigated the fast pace of city life. Hit on the like button if you have watched this far. Click on the subscribe button. It cost you nothing, but it really means a lot to us. Though she kept certain aspects of her past private, everything about her presence reflected her strength, dignity, and the solid values she had grown up with. Professionally, she worked as a customer service representative for America's Financial Choice, helping clients deal with financial hardships. Colleagues admired her calm under pressure and the rare compassion she showed toward every customer who walked through the door. By her early 30s, Luvenia had built a life that was steady and fulfilling. Good friends, stable work, and a heart still open to love. But like many who seemed to have everything figured out, she longed for something more. Beneath her bright exterior was a quiet yearning to share her life with someone who saw her the way she saw the world, with optimism, faith, and hope. She wanted a love that felt safe and real. Then, in the spring of 2020, she met Henry Taylor, a 35-year-old man whose confidence and charm made an immediate impression. Their connection wasn't the kind of cinematic love story that starts with fireworks. It began casually, a relationship built on attraction and curiosity. Yet over time the bond deepened. Henry's charisma drew her in. His boldness intrigued her. Soon, the line between affection and attachment blurred, and Luvenia found herself falling deeply in love. But love can be deceiving, and what shines bright at first can hide the deepest shadows. Behind Henry's charm was a man with a troubled past. A history of theft, vehicle possession charges, and time behind bars. Those details might have scared others away, but not Luvenia. She believed people could change, that love could soften even the hardest hearts. What she couldn't yet see were the warning signs, the quick temper, the flashes of anger, the need for control that occasionally surfaced. Henry often admitted he struggled to contain his rage, and his outbursts weren't just words. They were actions, reckless and destructive. Still, Luvenia stayed. She saw not the man he was, but the man she hoped he could become. Her loyalty was her strength, but also her undoing. Her biggest mistake: breathing. Luvenia believed in love until the very end. She saw light in someone consumed by darkness. But sometimes the heart that refuses to give up is the one that pays the highest price. To anyone scrolling through their Facebook feeds, Luvenia and Henry's relationship looked picture perfect. Their profiles overflowed with smiling selfies, weekend getaways, and captions filled with heart emojis and words like forever and soulmate. It was the kind of love story people envied, the kind that made others believe in happy endings. But like so many carefully curated lives online, the truth behind those photos was far more complicated. Their relationship wasn't built on steady affection. It was a storm of passion and pain, constantly teetering between tenderness and turmoil. Behind closed doors, the couple's romance was marked by frequent breakups, tearful reconciliations, and explosive arguments. They didn't separate because love had faded, but because their love had become volatile, tangled in emotion and control. Each fight seemed to grow sharper than the last. And while apologies always followed, the wounds never truly healed. Henry's temper, a force that could ignite over the smallest misunderstanding, became the unpredictable center of their relationship. One moment he was charming and protective. The next he was a storm of rage, destructive and uncontainable. It was this violent unpredictability that ultimately shattered the life Luvenia had so desperately tried to build. Luvenia Gardner, 33 years old, picture-perfect smile, heart of gold. And guess what? She ignored every red flag and stuck around for the grand finale of a relationship that would have made Shakespeare say, "Nah, too dramatic." Her biggest mistake: breathing. Let's set the scene, shall we? March 16th, 2021. The dream wedding. I mean, they really went all in on that fairy tale, didn't they? Las Vegas, baby. The city of lights, neon, and broken promises. Luvenia was all smiles, standing there in white, thinking Henry was her forever. He promised her the moon, the stars, and probably a vacation to the moon if he could. They exchanged rings, exchanged vows, and exchanged unnecessary amounts of glittery love that we all knew was about to get real ugly. But hey, they were in love, right? Right? Oh, sweetie. Sure. You want to know what's real cute though? Henry Taylor was an absolute mess. His criminal history? A smorgasbord of theft, vehicle possession, and prison time. Oh, and let's not forget the tiny little detail of his charming temper issues. You know, the kind of guy you definitely want to marry. But hey, who's counting those little red flags, right? This guy, Henry, would win Luvenia back over and over again like a bad season of The Bachelor. Flowers after fights. Handwritten notes of "I'm sorry." Lovely gestures, all designed to distract from the fact that he's a total piece of work. She was convinced, as one does, that love would save him. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But you keep on holding out hope, girl, because here comes the plot twist nobody asked for. A month after their Las Vegas wedding, guess what Henry's great romantic gesture was? Setting his wife on fire. Yep, you heard that right. April 16th, 2021, in their Chicago apartment, because nothing says love like your very own personal hellscape. Henry, the master of love and self-control, decided Luvenia was worth, what's the word? Nothing. He doused her in lighter fluid and, because he didn't feel like getting enough of an early start on hell, decided to light her up. Yeah, because that's totally a normal reaction to a fight, right? Her last words? My husband set me on fire. Yeah, those were her dying words, by the way. Now, remember, this was the guy she said forever with. The one she trusted. Oh, and I'm sure those vows were really comforting as she ran naked through the streets, skin on fire, begging for help. What a man. She ran 2 blocks to a fire station, fully ablaze by the way, and collapsed, and you know what the cherry on top was? He didn't call 911. He called her grandmother and said, "Hey, so I might have just set Luvenia on fire." Real classy, Henry. Just real classy. But of course, Henry's not a complete idiot. I mean, he might have gotten the idea from watching one too many crime shows, but the man did admit to it. After the whole "I set her on fire" thing, he turned himself in. Well, after he boasted about it on Facebook Live, naturally. Let's take a moment to bask in the glory of Henry's strategy, shall we? You've got a history of criminal behavior, a bad temper, and now you're a murderer. Bold strategy, Cotton, let's see if it pays off. Spoiler, it didn't. Now, Henry was charged with first-degree murder, because, surprise, setting someone on fire is still considered illegal in most places, including Cook County, Illinois. He didn't get bail, by the way. He's been sitting pretty in Cook County Jail, still waiting for his trial, as of the upload of this video, which, let's be honest, is probably going to take forever. Meanwhile, Luvenia's family raised money for her funeral, because that's what you do when your loved one's life gets snuffed out by someone they trusted. They used GoFundMe, and let me tell you, it was packed with purple balloons, which, if you know anything about the color purple, represents strength. She should have been standing there, a beacon of hope. But instead she was gone, snuffed out by a man who couldn't even hold it together for the one woman who believed in him. So here we are. A woman's life snuffed out in the most preventable, horrific way possible, and for what? Because she thought love could fix a man who never wanted to fix himself? Because she bought into the idea that anyone could change with enough love? Despite the unimaginable pain Luvenia was in, she managed to stay conscious long enough to give investigators the savage truth. Her last words? I always feared this day would come. I always knew Henry would kill me. And there it is. She had been living in fear, but no one really knew, did they? Behind those smiles, those pictures of happiness, Luvenia knew exactly what kind of monster she was married to. It's like she had a front row seat to her own tragedy, and even worse, she couldn't escape it. What a lovely twist on an otherwise charming relationship. For over a month, Luvenia clung to life. She wasn't just battling for survival, she was battling a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. Her body was a battlefield, covered in second and third degree burns that left her looking like a human torch. But let's not forget, her spirit, her will to live, that was still kicking. She was surrounded by family and friends, all praying for a miracle. But as miracles tend to do, they took a rain check on this one. After weeks of enduring surgery after surgery, it became clear that the damage was too much. On May 21, 2021, after fighting through unimaginable pain, Luvenia's body finally gave out. Her death didn't just shatter her family's hearts. It sparked a fire for justice that would burn brighter than the flames Henry had set. And guess who was just so brave and didn't bother to wait for the cops to come knock on his door? Oh, it was Henry, the I don't really care guy. 5 days after her death, the coward finally showed up at the Rogers Park District Station and turned himself in. Yeah, real heroic. Can't face the woman you married, but hey, you'll face the camera when it's time to confess. Because that's what real men do, right? In his video confession, Henry admitted to the crime. But here's the kicker, he still tried to downplay the entire thing. He said he wasn't close enough for the fire to reach her. Yeah, okay, Henry, sure, because that makes total sense. You just accidentally poured lighter fluid on her and lit it, but it wasn't close enough for it to catch, right? Nice try, buddy. And if you think that's bad, just wait. This is the part where it gets even dumber. Instead of, oh, I don't know, calling for help, Henry decided to phone Luvenia's grandmother. Yeah, because that's what you do when you burn someone alive, right? You don't call 911. You call grandma. Hey, yeah, just wanted to let you know that I may or may not have set your granddaughter on fire. Oops. You can practically hear the awkward silence on the other end of the line. What was he even thinking? Did he think this was just another one of his dumb road rage incidents? Like, who does that? Then comes May 28, 2021. The moment Henry's worst nightmare became a reality, being dragged in front of a judge. Charged with first-degree murder. That's right, folks. A little thing called murder because pouring gasoline on your wife and turning her into a human torch is, pretty much that. The judge denied him bond, and Henry's been sitting in Cook County Jail ever since, still pretending like he's the victim in this story. But, of course, much like everything about this case, the details have been kept quiet. But what's there to really say, right? He set his wife on fire, and that's about as crystal clear as it gets. There's no explanation or apology in the world that's going to undo that. And even if justice takes its sweet time, because we all know how these things go, it doesn't matter. Luvenia's story will never fade. Sure, Henry's behind bars, but the scar he left on everyone who loved her? That's forever. Her family, her friends, the neighbors who watched them marry, everyone who once thought Henry was the guy, is now living with the harsh reality of what he really was. A cold-blooded monster who didn't hesitate to destroy everything. Now let's talk about the aftermath of all this. Spoiler alert, it wasn't just Luvenia's death that left a mark. It was the way it brought people together. Her funeral became this tragic but beautiful testament to the life she lived before Henry decided to turn it into a living nightmare. The GoFundMe campaign to cover funeral costs quickly surpassed $6,000. People donated out of love, out of compassion, out of shock. She wasn't just a statistic. She was someone who mattered. And then came the funeral. A somber day, sure, but also one of love. There were tears, there were heartache-filled speeches, and there were memories shared of Luvenia's laughter, kindness, and strength. Her light might have been extinguished by Henry, but it was far from forgotten. At the end of the service, dozens of purple balloons, her family's chosen color to represent peace and courage, were released into the sky. It was a final tribute to a woman who should have had more time, more love, and more life. Instead, she was taken by a man who didn't understand the first thing about love. Even after the funeral, her loss echoed through the community. Her friends and family were left with unanswered questions, and that haunting feeling that maybe, just maybe, they could have done something to stop it. But what Luvenia's death did, whether we like it or not, was spark a conversation. It forced people to look at the terrifying reality of domestic violence. That thing we all know exists but tend to turn a blind eye to. Luvenia's story became a catalyst, opening the doors for others to speak out. People started to share their own experiences, seek help, and most importantly, not stay silent anymore. So yeah, it's tragic. It's awful. But Luvenia's life, her courage, and her suffering have become a symbol. Her story? It's not just a headline anymore. It's a message to anyone who will listen. Love should never hurt. Silence is deadly. And no one deserves to be scared in their own home. If you're watching this and you've been in a toxic relationship or know someone who is, don't let this story be just another tragedy. Share it. Talk about it. Break the silence. If this story hit you hard and you want more real talk, make sure you hit that subscribe button on Bruised Voice. We're out here shedding light on the darkest corners of true crime. No sugarcoating, just raw, unfiltered truth. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time with more stories that'll make you question humanity. Stay safe out there because some people really don't deserve to walk among us. Hit on the subscribe button. It costs you nothing, but it means everything to us.